All right, welcome back, everyone, to Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing. Or if this is your first time listening, welcome to our podcast.
Also, shame on you.
Yeah.
No shame. Welcome.
You're welcome all.
My name is Dave. I'll be your host for this evening. Cody, want to introduce yourself?
I'm Cody.
Okay, and how about you, Joe?
Hi, I'm Joe.
We are your hosts for this evening. All right. So we are talking today about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. It just came out this last weekend, and we are very excited to talk about it. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you have seen it. If you have not, I would recommend go watch it because
so many spoilers.
There's going to be so many spoilers in this, and it's a very spoilery movie. It's very easy to spoil. So hopefully you've already seen it and enjoyed it and are now listening.
That was a spoiler.
Out. That didn't even sound like the theme to Star Trek The Next Generation, but go on.
All right, so I thought we'd kick off by talking about kind of our expectations going in to the movie, how much you knew about it, what your previous feelings about the characters were, all that stuff. Joe, you want to start us off?
Sure. I was excited about this one for a few reasons. I was actually a really big fan of the first Doctor Strange. I feel like maybe more than most people, like kind of listening to podcasts and stuff discussing this movie, I get the sense that the first movie was not maybe as highly regarded by a lot of people, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really creative. I've been a big fan of Boner Dick Cumberpants for quite a while. I like him in pretty much everything I've seen him in.
That's a good one.
I mean, this one specifically being directed by Sam Raimi, who is obviously a legend for various reasons. I was excited for that. He hasn't directed a movie, I guess, since Oz the Great and Powerful, which was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And
that movie sucked.
It was kind of a disaster. But I mean, he's known for Evil Dead and other horror tinged movies, and the rumor was that was going to influence this movie quite a bit. So I was really excited to see how that was going to play out within the greater MCU. So yeah, I was. The other thing is I just recently finally watched Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange has not a huge role, but a sizable little role in that movie, and I really liked the character in that movie as well. So that kind of helped get me extra hype for this.
Great. And Cody, how about you?
So I was looking forward to this one quite a bit. Also, I guess first and foremost because it was, since Spider-Man is the first movie of 2022. It's like Spider-Man was the end of 2021, correct?
Yeah,
when that came out. So I was excited just to get the season kicked off, if you will, for the MCU movies proper. I knew going into this that it was going to feature America Chavez and Doctor Strange. Probably that there would be at least multiple Doctor Stranges. And then I knew just from the toy, the Funko Pops that I collect, there was a character named Sarah. So I was intrigued who that was. There was a character named Rintra who looked like a Minotaur. So I was super excited to see who that was in the movie because I was like, this guy looks awesome. And then I knew obviously Scarlet Witch was in this. And beyond that, it was kind of speculation, I feel like, which really built anticipation for me in this movie because it was Spider-Man was a chance to bring back the previous Spider-Men, but this one, I felt like anything was on the table for this, from the Netflix shows, from the other non-Netflix shows, or any MCU stuff. Anybody could have been in here. So kind of went into this with some, I don't know, Where's Waldo glasses on, what am I going to see in this movie? Keep an eye out for every little thing.
Hope you had those on during the scene where they were shifting through multiple realities per second. It seemed like I really want a frame by frame a breakdown of all that. Anyway, so you guys know I'm a big MCU fan. I was very much looking forward to this, and you also know that I don't watch trailers, so I literally all I knew was that Doctor Strange was in it. I knew Wanda Maximoff was in it, and I had heard that America Chavez would be in it, and that was absolutely all I knew about it. So I was really, really excited for it. Like you said, Cody, it seemed, wide open with the different possibilities. I liked the first Strange movie. It was kind of it was a little bit by the numbers in terms of the first movie in a franchise.
It's an origin
for
movie.
MC.
So,
It's an
yeah.
origin movie. Yes, exactly. I am always a fan of the second one because you already know the characters and you just jump right into the action. And that's exactly what this did. So I'm going to jump right into the action the way the movie did, where America and a ponytailed Spanish-speaking version of Doctor Strange are just jumping through some floating shit, which I thought was a really fun way to start the movie. I love when they just dive right into the action. Like Guardians 2 did that really well. And I thought that this kind of followed in that spirit. What did you guys think of this first scene with the searching for the Book of Vishanti?
I hated it.
Actually,
I did.
oh
Wait, really? Why?
I did, because it's just like, so one thing that happens that sometimes in the MCU is just like nondescript CGI monster. And this whole opening sequence was just like way too much CGI. I mean, Dave, you compared it to Guardians Volume 2, but like that opening scene in Guardians Volume 2 has so much personality. It's got the ELO song playing, and it's got like a lot of fun little character moments happening in there, humor and stuff. To me, this is just like nothing. Like there's like, it just felt like there's like no personality to the scene at all. It was just CGI monster fight, chasing after a MacGuffin.
Interesting. Yeah, Guardians 2 had, the crew, you kind of got right back in with the crew, whereas this had a character even though that wasn't really him, and a character you're just meeting versus, I agree, just like a CGI flying blob. So now I don't like it as much. Thanks, Joe. You ruined it for me.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's
well, I
alert,
enjoyed it, so I'm on team that side.
What did you like about it, Cody?
I just thought it was a nice way to get into the film because I liked that they were instantly into an action set piece. And I also liked that they put America Chavez in the opening scene because I'm like, oh, I know she's in the movie. I don't have to wait to see when she's going to be in the movie. She's already here, which I knew she was going to be there for the whole ride then, which I took that as a good thing.
That's fair. I mean, I did like that they started in medias res. I mean, I like that she was in there at the beginning. I did like the kind of subtle way at first that they distinguished Doctor Strange with the little like ponytail thing, and then you hear him speaking Spanish. Like, I mean, I thought that was cool, but overall, it just felt so kind of soulless to me, which, spoiler alert, the whole movie kind of did.
Jeez, all right, we're really gonna get into it.
Ooh, told you it was gonna be a fun one.
All right, so Strange basically betrays America and tries to take her power, but it doesn't work. Yeah, what a Benedict Arnold, more like Benedict Arnold.
I have a question about that. Did you take it as he was under the influence of the demon when that happened?
No, he's just
because he had gotten like slashed by it, and it seemed like it was after that he kind of turned on her.
No, so it's interesting that this movie just followed up Spider-Man No Way Home, in which he wants to just push the button and send the refugees essentially back to their home worlds, not caring that they
That's fair. I was actually just talking to a coworker earlier who has not seen the first Doctor Strange, and I did describe Doctor Strange as being a dick.
He's so I think it goes back to Infinity War too, where he gave up the time stone so that the 1 in 14 million chance would work. Like, he's just a guy who is willing to sacrifice what he needs to in order to.
You know what? I was actually just listening to a podcast, and they brought up a point which actually explains this, and I didn't even think about it. They said that it basically all goes back to the fact that he's a surgeon. So his entire life and training, he's used to finding like the one way to do it, like the most efficient way to do a thing, and like not doubt himself, like just do it and get it done with.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes this make more sense, like it sucks that he has to sacrifice a child basically, but if that can save the universe, that's something he's just going to do it.
And I think that's kind of his arc in this movie, is moving away from that mentality.
Absolutely.
But we'll talk about that more as we go. Okay, so Strange is killed, and America opens a portal to transport herself and the corpse of Ponytail Doctor Strange to what we now are confirmed as Earth 616.
616
area code.
Where Stephen Strange is attending Christine's wedding. Christine's wedding.
Well, I mean, first he wakes up and it looks like that was all a dream.
Oh, that's true. It was a dream that he had.
Yeah, he wakes, the shirtless, very ripped Benedict Cumbersnatch wakes up and yeah, he just experienced a dream, and so we're like, what was that about?
I mean, the male title character in an MCU movie, he has to go shirtless.
Gotta have the one
at one point or another. Multiple points if you're Spider-Man.
Can't wait till they make a Blob Solo movie.
So you're right. He wakes up. It's from a dream, which we find out later is just glimpses into your other multiverse selves, which I think is kind of a cool concept. Personally, I like that.
That was a cool idea. I agree.
Yeah.
Then he goes to a wedding where the other surgeon is there and kind of sticks a knife in with, you still didn't get the girl though. Which I don't know. I liked the first introduced the question of, are you happy? And he seems to think he's happy. That's kind of a recurring theme throughout the movie, whether or not he's happy.
Did you believe him when he said yes though? Because
I didn't, but I feel like he believed it.
I didn't
at that moment.
I feel like he was like just saying it because that's what you say.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
I don't think he would have been there if he was happy. Like, why is he at his ex's wedding? That's kind of weird.
I don't know. I think he was happy then.
I think that's the thing you would do if you were happy, and wouldn't do if you were unhappy.
I don't know.
He wasn't there to like crash the wedding or disrupt it in any way. He was there just out of respect for his friend, I guess.
I just think he's a sad boy.
I think he just had an open bar.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, right after the actual ceremony, they cut to him at the bar drinking by himself. Like,
yeah, but not for long. Oh, and then we confirmed Doctor Strange is Jesus because he turns water into wine.
Yeah, I did love that. That was amazing.
That was pretty fun. Then we have some mayhem out on the street, and he kind of finishes his drink, tosses on his cloak, and jumps off the balcony. I thought that was cool to see him just like go to work, in sort of what started out as sort of a street level fight, or seemed like it might be a street level fight, but got multiversey magically real quick.
Yeah.
I like this scene a lot. There's lots of really cool spells in his arsenal that we got to see.
Yeah, like new ones we hadn't seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when the bus is flying at him and he just turned one of his big shields into like a razor blade, just a little buzzsaw action. Didn't seem like maybe the most efficient way to deal with that problem, but hey, it worked. And it looked cool.
Only killed a few people, no big deal.
Wong got some good action there.
I was going to say, if you thought he was going to be the only sorcerer there, he'd be Wong.
Terrible.
It's probably Wong's best scene in the movie. Wong had a few good ones, but I liked this one the best, to see him in action,
Yeah, I liked seeing him where he kind of like summons the sword, and it like there's like some brief moments of almost kind of like wuxia fighting going on.
Yeah. Really earns his Sorcerer Supreme title.
Yeah.
For a hot second there.
I felt like the end of this fight was where we kind of first get some of Raimi's, horror sensibilities, where he just rips the eyeball out of
With
the
Oh, yeah.
eye creature.
yes, I totally agree.
That was awesome.
Although honestly, have either of you guys seen the more recent Suicide Squad movie?
Mm-hmm.
This kind of struck me as like a sort of pale imitation of like the Starro fight scene at the end of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
Like
And there's
giant
some-
eyeball creature, like because in that movie, spoiler alert, like the big bad is this literally a giant alien starfish called Starro, and it has a giant eyeball, and like they end up killing it by one of the characters can control rats, and just an army of rats climbs inside its eyeball, it eats it, and it's like horrific. Like
it's pretty fantastic. That's
It's-
like the best DC movie I've seen in a long time.
yeah, no, I agree. Well, it's I
Suicide
mean, it was
Squad.
directed by James Gunn after he got fired from Marvel briefly, so that's probably why it's awesome.
Have
but
you
this-
watched the Peacemaker series?
Yes, it's amazing.
It's
Like
fantastic.
I think I actually like that better than the Suicide Squad movie. Like I think Peacemaker might be my favorite DC thing I've seen. Anyway, I
agree.
digress.
I agree.
Like I kind of wonder if this was at all influenced by that scene, and it's like this is like as graphic as they can get in a PG-13 Marvel movie, like compared to the hard R of that scene.
I don't think anyone was watching Suicide Squad and going, "Oh yeah, we should do that." I think it was just probably a coincidence that they
The big creature with
to
one
be
eyeball.
closer.
What are you gonna do? I mean,
yeah. But I agree. It was very it really the removal of that eyeball and subsequent death of the creature really set a tone for this
Yeah.
movie that I feel like we had not seen in the MCU before this, and we're going to see a lot more of in this particular movie. So
Yes.
that was pretty cool. All right, so they recognize that, and at any point stop me if I'm moving forward and you guys have something more you want to say.
Nope.
They recognize that there were witchcraft runes on the demon, and they know, Wong says, "Hey, those are witchcraft runes." Strange says, "All right, we know who to talk to for that," and he goes to see Wanda, Scarlet Witch.
Boy, does he.
boy, does he, in her beautiful orchard.
She's got a beautiful orchard that she says is not magic. She's really growing it herself. And they have a conversation during which she does the very tropey
During
thing
which
of accidentally saying a name that she's not supposed to know, which I really wish they had come up with a more clever way for her to show her hand
witches be crazy.
in that extremely tropey thing. But we find out that she has sent the giant octopus demon.
Gargantos. Which has a lawsuit over that. Did you guys read about that creature?
No.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It's like a different name in the actual comics, but they couldn't use that name because they said of a lawsuit, and I was very confused which lawsuit, like property owner they were talking about. Like,
That's weird.
yeah, because they have all the Fox stuff. So is it Universal or it could be Sony? I don't know. It's weird, but
I read that Universal has the rights to Namor, which I didn't realize.
That's interesting.
I may be mispronouncing that because I've only ever seen it in text, but
yeah,
That's how I would say it. I didn't know that. I was like,
it's like
I've been waiting for Namor to show up in a MCU movie.
it seems like a big character that they haven't used yet. But I've
Yeah.
you won't have to wait too long.
yeah,
Spoiler
that's
alert.
what I've heard as well.
Ooh.
All right, so she reveals that she is in fact in the possession of the Darkhold, has been studying the Darkhold. Things are going real cray in Wanda's mind, and she basically says, well, thanks for telling me where you're keeping this girl. I'm going to come get her and take her power, whether that kills her or not.
Okay,
in order
I need to jump in here.
Go see my kids. Please do.
Ah! Am I the only one who like thought that this was like a very, very rapid escalation from where WandaVision left off? Like I felt like WandaVision was like hinting towards this.
I feel like
But-
WandaVision left it real 50-50. Like the last we see her, she's holed up in a cabin, studying the Darkhold and hearing voices of her children.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
they
it's
definitely set this
certainly-
up.
They're setting it up, but I feel like one of my biggest problems with this movie is that at no point did I really sympathize with Wanda in this movie.
Okay.
Like WandaVision, yes, WandaVision, like the miracle of that show is that it made me care deeply about two characters who I did not give a rat's ass about before. But I feel like in this movie, like right out of the gate, she's just crazy villain mode. And I think for me, what I needed was some sort of in between. Like, yes,
Yeah.
the end of WandaVision did kind of point in this direction, at least as being a possibility. But I feel like what I needed in this movie was, how does she get from there to like total batshit crazy mode? And like maybe portray that in a way that gives us some sympathy for her, because it just really threw me off, like the fact that she's just pure evil villain right out of the gate.
I think it's easy to write that off as the influence of the Darkhold, and I think that's what they were going for. But I at least partially agree with you. I wish that perhaps she had maybe started the movie trying to help,
Yeah.
and then found out America's powers and really thought about the possibilities of that and the implications of what she could do with that, and then progress to a character who is not straight up evil, but will not stand for anyone getting in her way.
Yeah.
Which this was a step beyond that. Like, to jump ahead a bit, after the initial incursion of Camartage, when there's like some sorcerer who's like on the ground, he's maybe gonna make it, and she just like fucking burns him alive for no reason. I think that was their way of saying she's irredeemably evil now.
She is
Get
not
on
messing
board
around.
with it. And I really wish that they had dialed those kinds of things back, make her a little more sympathetic, and make her, like I said,
Yeah.
just don't get in my way, and
I
you'll
mean,
be
at least
fine.
until later in the movie, like it's fine if she ends up going like full blown villain and killing people, but like I need to know how she got to that point. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the pacing in this movie is really weird because this all happens in the first like 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
It like hits you and just keeps
Yeah,
going and
like
going and going.
there
and
is
going.
really no development of like her motivations, or like, there really is not much character development with anyone in this movie. Like it just kind of goes from plot point to plot point.
I disagree with
Almost
that.
maybe, but there's definitely
I think
some.
it tries.
Oh, I think it succeeds. It's
I don't know if it's well, we could get into that.
I was just curious too. Like, think about this scene from the perspective of someone who hasn't seen WandaVision, which I hadn't really thought about either. So if you didn't see that show and you didn't even know she had kids, like, and you're jumping into this now, like, is what they did in the movie better or worse? Like, I would almost say maybe worse. I don't know.
I think WandaVision is the descent back into bad guy dumb that Joe is saying he wanted in this movie. And I don't disagree with you entirely, Joe, but I think if you're looking for the character development that got her here, it's called WandaVision.
I mean, I agree to an extent, but I think there needed to be like a bridge between the gap there. But anyway, I digress.
Well, we just occasionally not
I
disagree.
guess so.
with each
This
other.
might be the
Just
most
occasionally.
this might be the most disagreeing episode.
I don't know. I've heard what you guys said about me on the Moon Knight episode. So I actually haven't heard it yet, but I've got a little preview of it. All right. So Wanda goes after Camartage and successfully infiltrates it and kills a whole bunch of people. I'm not entirely sure why they actually kept America at Camartage after telling Wanda, hey, she's at Camartage, because at the end they say, all right, let's get her out of here, and they try the sling ring and it doesn't work because it's too late. and they had a billion opportunities before that to actually move her to a different location. So
quick side note, since you brought up the sling ring,
yeah,
since I just watched Spider-Man No Way Home, like in that movie, Doctor Strange gets his sling ring stolen. In this movie, he gets his sling ring stolen. Like, dude needs to hold on to his freaking sling ring.
yeah. Well, apparently, I've read that these two movies switched their release order at one point because of some
I did
COVID
hear
timing.
that. Yeah.
And originally, America Chavez was supposed to be in Spider-Man, and she's the one who, like, her spell goes wrong. I think kind of her portal powers that she's learning, they moved on to Ned and kind of gave him the portal power instead. So it'd be interesting to see in a different universe where those two movies released in the opposite order. But I do agree they've kind of like had his sling ring been stolen by a teenager a few too many times at this point.
Maybe it's like a one size fits all and it just doesn't fit his hand.
I did think it's funny that they were immediately like, well, Wong still has his, you dummy. Like, where'd you think you were going to go?
I love Wong.
Wong's the best until later in this movie.
Uh-oh.
All right. So America gets scared. I wish her name was not America. It makes every sentence sound weird.
Yeah.
America gets scared and her powers activate, and she and Strange end up on Earth 838, which our first impression of it is that it's kind of like a shiny rainbow sky world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go back a second?
Yes, please.
I was just thinking here too, like they take her to Comertage, which I took in the movie as like, this is where we think we have the best chance to defend her. We have all the magic that can maybe battle
like
the
all
witchcraft.
the sorcerers versus one witch. Come on.
But I was also thinking like they can open these portals whenever they want. Why didn't they call in any help from anybody else to like face Wanda at this point?
Because
they called the other branches. They called the Hong Kong branch, called the London branch. Those guys
I don't mean them though.
up.
Like, why not get like an Avenger or two to show up? And maybe you wanted to be like, yeah, this is a terrible idea. I see that I'm killing, I don't know, somebody else now.
Yeah, that's true.
Who even are the Avengers at this point?
We'll talk about that at the end.
I know.
All right, fair enough. It's what do you say? Various bug-themed superheroes.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
That was a great line.
That whole
like
scene
a
about
Mohawk
Spider-Man, when he says that he crawls on ceilings and shoots webs, and she's like, out of his butt. I don't think so. I hope not.
I like how she's never come across a Spider-Man before. And it's like in No Way Home when Tom Holland's like, I was part of the Avengers, and the other two were like, awesome. Is that like a band? It's a great line. It's a great joke. I love that one. So anyway, they end up in 838, where the green light means stop and red light means go. And Bruce Campbell is what, Pizza Papa? Or
Pizza
what is
Papa.
Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa always gets paid.
And he objects to them stealing his food, so Strange curses him to punch himself. That
was weird.
Like a little bit of a dick move on his part.
For 2 to 3 weeks, I think he said.
3 weeks, he claimed. I don't know if that was a joke or real. I wondered if what she said about food being free in most multiverses was true, because that seemed like a little social commentary. I don't know. I could see it. I
could see it too.
Kind of like that. She's been to, what'd she say, 72 of them?
Something like that.
She knows her shit. So they find out there's a Doctor Strange museum. They start heading towards that. On the way there, they stop at a very convenient expositional memory store or something where they can stand on a spot on the sidewalk and it'll show them and apparently everyone around them their deepest memory.
Exposition.
Yeah, that was a very convenient plot point, I thought.
Lesbian moms.
So we saw Strange having dinner with Christine, and we saw America have lesbian moms that will not make the movie be shown in Saudi Arabia.
And probably China, I would
Or
guess.
China.
And well, China hasn't shown an MCU movie for like 5 movies now.
Yeah, it's because they keep having too much American representation and or
I mean,
diversity.
Shang-Chi did not show in China, which
That's
is
weird.
insane that
I actually
They just really hate Ben Kingsley.
I didn't research this, but I heard it mentioned on a podcast. They said that one of the like for Spider-Man No Way Home, China wanted them to remove the Statue of Liberty from the climactic battle, which takes place entirely on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, what the hell? What
They had
were
to
they
take
supposed to
certain
do?
scenes out. Like there's one of him like standing on the torch, and they were like, "That one needs to come out." Like not every. It was weird. Like not every instance
Oh,
of
the
the
podcast
of the
I heard, they
statue.
said that they just wanted them to remove it, which like, how would that even be possible?
Oh, I didn't hear quite that, but yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
So you listen to a lot of podcasts that are not this podcast. So
I do.
what's that about?
I mean, I need to see how the pros do it.
Just listen. Here we go.
I need something to strive for.
So during that, Wanda back on Earth 616 learns how to dream walk, which will let her take control of her 838 counterpart. She spends a little time with her kids and then sets off to find Strange in America and deal with them, take out the trash, as she says, I believe. And then some sorceress, is this the Sarah you were talking about, Cody, comes in and destroys the Darkhold?
Yeah, I believe that's Sarah.
Okay. Is she in a previous film? I didn't recognize her.
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Seeing her before.
Okay.
I was very like, oh, that's who she is. Okay.
Which that was weird to me because it felt like she should have had like some significance.
Yeah, I agree. And that Minotaur one they seem to really like, and that they seem to treat like a character that we seem to treat like a character we knew and liked already. When
I mean,
really the case.
honestly,
I expected him to have a much larger role. He did not.
Yeah.
So
like aside from Wong, I don't know any of the other characters from Carmartage. Which it seemed like Sarah.
You know,
exists.
one other one coming up later.
That's fair. It seemed like Sarah existed just to sacrifice herself for Wong, which was weird.
I agree. And that would have meant more if it was. I don't know. Like I saw the dude in the first movie who has no hands. I saw him a couple times, but he didn't seem to have a role other than like background.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like there's no character development in this movie.
I guess he couldn't like hold a knife to stab the book, but I don't know, he could have made do. I mean,
he could do magic.
Yeah, that's true. So the Darkhold is destroyed. Wanda loses her dream walk and gets real mad. And Wong, after about 5 seconds of pressure, gives up that the Darkhold was a copy and that the real text is on Mount Wundagore.
I was so disappointed in my boy.
I didn't really. I agree with the disappointment. That was maybe the most disappointing part of the whole movie, that he
not have been more Wong.
Just gave it up like that.
That wasn't his shining moment, that's for sure.
It really didn't make sense with his character.
Like the only thing I could think of is that he thought he was buying time. Like he had faith that somehow things would work out, but that's stupid. Like that's kind of magical thinking, no pun intended.
Well, he does then like transport them like 6 miles away from the mountain, which they have to then walk to.
Yeah, but she can fly.
I know. I agree. It didn't make a lot of sense. I agree.
I mean, well, the other thing is, I feel like, because he basically caves as soon as she starts like torturing the other sorcerers. But I feel like any of them would have been prepared to die to like save the, multiverse. Like, I don't know. It's just too weird.
I would tend to agree.
Wong's just a big old softie.
Yeah, you kind of have to look past that part, I guess.
Too many Hotel California sessions.
All right. So they are on their way to Mount Wundagore. In the meantime, Strange and Chavez, I'm just going to call her Chavez because I'm tired of calling her America. They show up, and I call him Strange, so why not? They go to the Doctor Strange Museum, where they are greeted by none other than Mordo.
Bum, bum, bum.
Is it a museum? I mean, there's the statue, but I thought it was just like the statues outside the Sanctum Sanctorum in that universe.
Bruce Campbell called it a museum.
Oh, I must have missed
But
that.
they do, it does seem to be not really a museum, but instead they're like right outside the Illuminati headquarters.
Yeah.
So that's a good.
Well, because I feel like they have a conversation about like, you know, because I believe when they're at the statue, like one of either America, it must be America, or maybe Strange says like, you know, if Strange is dead in this universe, who is the Sorcerer Supreme? And like that's when Mordo comes out.
I love how characters in movies just know the exact moment to enter.
Mordo's like hiding behind the statue, like I wanted to say the thing about
hey guys, come on, just say it.
Did somebody say Sorcerer Supreme? Here I am.
Pizza Papa, Pizza Papa.
Why did Wong not do
brother.
that? Did somebody say Sorcerer Supreme?
Because nobody respects him after what he did.
I thought it'd be funny if
That's
Mordo was
also not
like,
true.
it's traditional to bow to the Sorcerer
Oh,
Supreme.
that would have been
Oh, that would have been
That
good.
would've been
Dang.
That would have been a nice little thing.
That would have been good.
Anyway, so they bring him before the Illuminati. Although I guess they capture him.
Well, we
get
should
some
know
Christine
Is that
first
first or is that
that-
later?
We should know too that like the last time we saw Mordo in the 616 universe, he was plotting to destroy Strange and possibly like other sorcerers.
Yeah, and Strange seemed to know about that.
Yeah. So he was like anticipating a fight, it seemed like, but then this Mordo was like, brother.
Was he though?
I was a little confused about whether or not they had like faced each other off screen or not.
That's one weird thing about this movie because like the end of the first one, like obviously sets Mordo up as like a future villain.
Yep.
So you would have assumed that he would have been like the main bad guy, or at least one of the main bad guys in a Doctor Strange sequel.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the way that this version of Mordo is portrayed, it's a little more nebulous, I guess. Where like he does betray Strange, but it's not entirely clear that he is like a villain. It seems like he's maybe just doing what he thinks is the best.
Yeah, I think maybe that's just the MCU like leaving that option to continue this plot, and then years down the road when they make this movie, they're like, well, we don't need that right now.
I agree, but I also feel like they kind of undercut Mordo and they can't have him be like the leading villain
Yeah, that
now.
would be like kind of more confusing for people, I think.
Well,
Not
I
even
think
more
that
confusing, but they've shown that like Strange is already like way more powerful than him and
that's
like
true.
can handle him no
Which
problem.
honestly, like it's kind of disappointing because I love Chiwetel Ejiofor as an actor. Like I think I would have loved to have seen him as, full-blown villain.
I mean, I could still see him coming back as like maybe helping a stronger villain or something.
Yeah, well, I guess
Yeah, that's true. Or maybe he has a scene kind of like Crossbones at the start of Civil War where he's the initial threat that they have to deal with, and
Yeah,
it escalates from there.
I could see it.
That could be it. So they Strange and Chavez end up in cages essentially, and we find out that this alternate Christine is one keeping them there, and she's an expert in the multiverse.
She has a notebook. Just kidding.
I don't really get that. Like, how is she an expert in the multiverse? Like, what means of study does she have?
She went to Multiverse University.
Multiversity?
Multiversity.
Multiplicity.
Like,
She went to Multiverse Collegiate University, or MCU, if you will.
What are you questioning? Why this version of Christine is so much more advanced than Earth?
Just more like
How did she become an expert in that?
Yeah, what avenue of study does she have? She doesn't seem to have the dark hold, so she's not dream walking. She doesn't have Chavez's powers to go hopping around from multiverse to multiverse? Like, how does she?
I mean, I guess that's like the advantage of this being an alternate universe is that we don't like. It could be just be a scientific course of study in this universe.
That's
like,
true.
You know,
I just took it as she works for the Illuminati, and they very explicitly were like, we monitor the multiverse.
I mean, that's true too.
So
She
she's
does work
just
for
an
the
employee.
Illuminati.
I don't know.
Okay, there must be some power set or some technology that allows all of them to know more about that than we do. I suppose.
I'm sure it's just a book that's in their break room. They read at their own leisure.
Sure, yeah.
Not yet. We're close.
I'm so excited.
So they let Strange out of his cage because the Illuminati is ready to see him now.
Say
Coming out of his
Illuminati.
cage and he's doing
Yeah,
just
the
fine.
Illuminati. Yeah.
The Illuminati. They are an inferior deep
Pizza
dish
Papa.
pizza.
They serve him a deep dish pizza.
Their
It's
plan
cut
is to
into an
clog his
X.
arteries.
Oh my god.
All right, so he goes before the Fan Service Council.
This is where the next 20 minutes of the podcast will go.
Oh yes.
This is I was jumping out of my seat. I was so thrilled with this. I was holding my wife's hand and just like squeezing it every time somebody new showed up. It was fantastic. So we've got Peggy
was
Carter
fantastic.
as Captain Carter, who looked awesome in that suit. I thought the
Yeah,
transition
I
to live
wanted
action
more
totally
live
worked.
action Captain Carter.
Yeah.
Now you have twice as much. Not
Cody,
quite there yet. Not quite there yet.
Not
Okay.
quite there yet.
Okay.
Not quite there yet.
We'll get there.
So we had Peggy Carter as Captain Carter. We had Maria Rambeau as Captain Marvel in this universe, which was pretty cool. And
She looked pretty badass.
Yeah.
she was good. Yeah, I was happy to see that actress return. I wasn't a huge fan of her in Captain Marvel actually, but it was still nice to see her back since they kind of unceremoniously off-screen killed her in Earth 616, the main
That's fair.
MCU. We had Blackagar Boltagon.
That was like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That was so
That's
as someone
amazing.
who watched the Inhumans TV show, suffered through the Inhumans TV show, and just marveled, pun intended, at how horrible it was. I was shocked that they brought him into this, that they kept the same actor.
Hey, he's having a moment right now.
Oh, he's on a new Star Trek, right?
He is playing
Is that
Captain
it?
Christopher Pike on Star Trek: Strange New Worlds,
Oh
Okay.
Lord.
which, dear listener, is actually a very good modern Star Trek show.
Good to know. Good to know.
It's sign up for Paramount Plus just for that. I'm sure you can get a free trial or something.
You
but
said
it's-
that as though season 1 of Picard didn't exist.
Hold on, we're not to Picard yet.
Oh,
Hold
okay,
on,
okay,
hold
okay.
on.
Okay.
Anyway, Strange New Worlds is great. It
So-
actually feels like Star Trek. Go on.
Captain. Keep going. Yes.
Black Bolt is there,
Oh, yes.
which is a fantastic.
And I didn't see that
Unexpected.
show, so I was like, I didn't know that was anyone. So
Yeah, he's
I haven't
from that
watched it
show.
either,
It was
but, like,
terrible.
I knew that his character is Black Bolt, but I did not know that he's Blackguard Boltimus or whatever the fuck.
Blackagar Boltagon is his full name, which
It's just silly.
which Doctor Strange makes a gibberish joke with it. He's like, "Why go lay there? Go, you know." I messed it up, but all right. Next, we see none other than the smartest man in the universe, soon to be proven false.
Joe
Reed
Janko.
Richards,
Oh, that guy.
played
Reed
by
Richards.
John Krasinski, which
my God.
they actually did it
They
after
did it.
years of fan casting.
I mean, the question is, are they going to do it again?
That is the question. I think they either will, or I think, you know how Maria Rambeau was Captain Marvel in this one. I think they might have him be some kind of supporting character. Well, no, that doesn't make sense because he's Reed Richards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will say, like, I had this spoiled for me. I knew that he was going to show up.
Oh,
Oh.
you dumbass.
Well, I mean, there've been rumors about it for like a very long time.
Yeah, but okay.
But I will say I was skeptical, but I liked the costume. I liked his look. Like I would watch him as Reed Richards in a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, I would too. I think he's probably aged out of the part for me a little bit, but I thought he did a great job, and I would definitely, if that's what they go with, I'm on board with it.
I'll come back to that thought.
Oh boy.
And then speaking of being too old,
See next.
with the X-Men animated series theme song playing in his X-Men animated series
in the
wheelchair.
animated series wheelchair. This is like canonically the animated series version of Professor X.
Fucking fantastic. In comes Picard. Professor X. Probably his last time playing the role, I would have to imagine, but you never know.
Who knows at this point?
They've killed him 4 times now.
His farewell in Logan wasn't enough.
Nope, never enough.
Dug him up.
But I mean, honestly, what better way to first bring the X-Men into the MCU than with Patrick Stewart playing Professor X? They can do whatever they want going forward. That was the right way to start it, I feel.
It's almost as if this entire movie exists just to set up the future of the MCU. What?
You know, I don't think you're entirely wrong. In the same way that, like, you know, Age of Ultron, which I think is a worse movie than this one.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong there.
It was not well received when it came out, but in retrospect, watching it again and seeing how many things it set up and how many things it, you know, kicked off for the first time, including
what about
Wanda.
all the good things Ultron did?
It it was cool too that this was like a world in which Ultron worked. And,
Yeah, that's
apparently.
true.
and was a successful project. I thought that was pretty cool. Apparently, a lot of people were hoping that Tom Cruise would show up as
I was super
Iron
hoping that Tom Cruise would show up as Iron Man.
Oh, thank God he didn't.
Can I tell you guys, like, spoiler alert, what my absolute favorite part of this movie was?
Yeah, go for it.
It was the trailer for Top Gun Maverick I saw before this movie.
Oh, boo, boo.
That was the most thrilling moment I had in the theater today.
God, you should have had indigestion or something. Anything would have been better than that.
Yeah, I'm with Cody on this one. You are wrong, Joe.
I'm very sorry about that.
All right, so that is the
Tom Cruise
Illuminati.
barely played a passable Bruce Campbell in this movie, I thought, at best.
Including Mordo, who Strange learns for the first time. His first name is Carl.
Carl.
A fun joke with that. And basically they tell the story of their Strange, who went off on a little field trip to another universe and destroyed it, and then came back, helped them defeat Thanos with the information that he learned, and then signed up for the rest of them to kill him because of the power that he had gained and the danger that he posed to their universe and perhaps others. I thought that little alternate scene on Titan to Thanos's other demise in this universe was a cool one, even though it's just a brief little glimpse.
Forgot
You
that
got to
was there.
see
Yeah.
Black Bolt's power in action, destroying Strange.
I'm sorry, I think you mean Blackamus Boltonstein.
Blackagar Boltagon. I expect Benedict Cumberbatch style riffs from you, Joe. So get working on those. All right. In the meantime, Wanda has reestablished her dream walk up at Mount Wundagore. The beasts that guard it have kind of bowed down to her. They were waiting not to oppose her, but to
Wait, I'm sorry, I have
support
one.
her.
I have one. Black Betty Bambalam.
Whoa. Good job, buddy. Good job. I'm proud of you for that one.
Thank you.
So Wanda comes back in, dreamwalking into 838 Wanda, and actually leaves her kids this time goes to the Illuminati headquarters and proceeds to prove pretty definitively that Wanda is the most powerful character in the entire MCU. She first, would you say that she outsmarted Mr. Fantastic, or was that just a dumb move on his part to immediately reveal how Black Bolt is going to operate, or how he's going to use his weapon against her, which she then can quickly counter?
I think we got a combination of things here, because they probably, I mean, their Wanda is nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And this Wanda's like all powerful, maybe more so on Earth, and then on top of that with the Darkhold. So I think they probably severely underestimated her.
Yeah, they really I mean, because Strange tries to warn them, like, she's the most powerful being in the world, like, we can't stop her, and they're just like, whatever, we got this.
We can handle your little witch.
I also wasn't sure, like, you know, since we have various versions of the characters here, I didn't know if like these Illuminati in their world like were weaker than what potentially we could get in 616. Like, you know, they could also be a weaker representation. So I don't know if she is the most powerful on Earth, maybe, but maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, they had defeated Thanos, so they weren't small fries.
That's true.
Although I wonder how Black Bolt didn't defeat Thanos. If his, I don't know. Anyway, so she kind of makes Black Bolt's
muzzle on him,
mouth disappear, Neo in the Matrix style.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that was cool.
And
that
he
was amazing.
Confused mumbles to himself, thus blowing his own brains out.
One of the more gruesome deaths I had thought.
Yeah,
in the
oh my God,
absolutely.
Amazing. I love that.
The most gruesome death until 2 seconds later when she turns Mr. Fantastic into spaghetti, and then his brain does a nice little pink pop at
Sure
the
does.
end, which was just insane. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So this is where I'm going back to Suicide Squad, the comparison and the way that in the new Suicide Squad, spoiler alert for that, the very first team of Suicide Squad we see just like gets fucking annihilated. It's also very much like the end of the first episode of Invincible, if you guys have seen that on Amazon. It's a cartoon, it's an animated superhero show in which, in a post-credit scene of the first episode, an entire very powerful superhero team is just completely obliterated.
It's like the team from Deadpool.
It's actually
like the team from Deadpool. That's another good one. Yeah.
It reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen this movie yet, Dave, but a movie that we discussed on this podcast recently, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I have not, unfortunately.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you then, but it reminded me of a scene introducing like the villain character from that movie. I'll just say that.
Okay. I am excited to see that. I just have not had an opportunity yet. Then Captain Carter puts up a pretty good fight and says the line.
Yeah,
I can do this all day.
That was great.
And she could indeed do it for the rest of her life.
Womp womp.
Which got cut short by her own shield in a very, I mean, they don't really show anything, but it's still a pretty brutal death.
It's pretty heavily implied that she gets cut right in half by that shield.
Yeah. And then Captain Marvel has her turn. Not sure why she was just kind of sitting back in the background.
Yeah.
And gets taken out by a statue falling on her, which didn't seem very Captain Marvel-y, I thought.
No, it also felt kind of like anticlimactic after the other deaths that had happened.
Yeah.
Like
am I wrong on this part? I had thought that Wanda stole her power and then she was a regular human and then a statue collapsed on her.
You know, I didn't clock that, but I would love to have that be the case because it would make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
I thought she essentially was doing to her the same thing she kept trying to do to Chavez, which was like suck her powers out.
Okay, great. I will have to watch that for that next time.
Otherwise, yeah, pretty bitch
that'd be
death.
great.
But it's okay. Professor X will take care of everything.
Professor X will take care of it. He goes into Wanda 838's brain and finds that universe's version of Wanda under a pile of mental rubble.
Oh yeah.
And is trying to get her out.
If he can only get her out, he's convinced that he'll be able to free her.
He's
It
trying
works
to
for Wolverine.
pull her out of there. And then suddenly a red smoke appears, and there's Wanda, and she snaps his fucking neck.
It's like a extra scary witchy version of Wanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a jump scare there.
A little jump scare.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Meanwhile, Strange is having a fight with Mordo, which turns into fisticuffs, which I thought was kind of fun to have like a hand-to-hand combat in this movie. But that ends pretty quickly. Christine and America are trying to escape from Wanda and sort of successfully do so. But then Wanda gets her. She gets America and brings her back to Earth 616 and Gondor, and kind of sets us up for the final battle. Although I'm jumping ahead because first Strange and Christine travel to another dimension.
Yes.
Sent there by America in a moment of panic, where things have kind of fallen apart. They find the Sanctum, and that universe's version of Doctor Strange is in there.
Evil Strange.
And he also went to the wedding and kind of had a different outcome.
An evil outcome.
He fell into a depression and then dream walked into a bunch of other universes and threw a bunch of other Stranges off of high towers, he implies. And then they have a music battle, which I thought was awesome. Did not really see coming. There wasn't really like a pretense for that, but
it made no goddamn sense, but I loved it. like you said, there's like no setup at all. It just kind of happens, but it felt like one of the more unique like scenes in this movie, and I liked it.
At least I'm being consistent to character here, because I've 1/5 enjoyed it, 4/5 was like, this is the worst fucking scene in the movie.
Really? I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
But if you listen to that other episode we did on Everything Everywhere All at Once, this is in character.
Yeah, this is par for the course for Cody.
Just weird, because I feel like, I don't know, younger
fun.
me would have been like, oh, this is amazing. But I was like, why are they playing fucking music? This is just.
Well, I am the youngest of the three of us, so maybe that's why I was like,
oh,
I loved it.
I was also like, what you just said. I'm not.
Were you like, or were you like,
you know what I was like? Fun.
I recorded the 4 different tones. I put them all together.
I like it. I appreciate
Thank you. I appreciate you saying
Good job.
that. Thank you.
Got it.
So Strange fights Strange and wins.
How could he not?
And then he realizes what he has to do. So he gets the dark hole.
What?
What? What'd you say?
Nothing.
Okay.
He gets the dark hold and he goes dream walking into Ponytail zombie corpse Strange on Earth 616.
Weird.
Which I did not expect. This is when the movie goes full Raimi.
I mean, I wondered why they buried that guy, because I was like, there's got to be some reason they buried that guy in a shallow grave on the roof of a building.
I mean, so we saw Zombie Strange in the trailer, like briefly, but
I didn't, because I don't watch the trailers. But
I loved that it was good Zombie Strange, because like just based on seeing it in the trailer, you assume zombie that it's going to be like trying to kill, good Strange.
You think it's
I really love the way that they did it.
The Evil Dead version with his Army of Darkness.
Well, and I mean, as Dave said, I mean, this is where it goes full Raimi, and this is I mean, probably not coincidentally, this is where I start really enjoying the movie finally. Like, I love that it's, practical effects. They just like piled a bunch of makeup on Benedict Cumberbatch for the most part. And
This is where it gets to like Shadow Army. This is your practical effects part that you love.
I'm talking about the zombie makeup.
Okay.
So
Anyway.
indeed, a shadow army comes after him for reasons that are
Which
glossed
also
over
makes
a
no goddamn
little bit,
sense.
but it's okay because Christine understands completely what Steven needs to do. She tells him to use them instead of fighting them, and he does. He basically
Well, and this is after she somehow magically knows to light that thing to drive them out of the world
she's been doing a lot of research, man. A lot of research.
A lot of books in the break room.
into all kinds of things. I'd like to think that, she and Strange were friends and more for years. And so she did a bunch of research into the arcane. I don't know.
She
it's a
keeps
little
saying
bit
notebook as a Rachel McAdams joke. Did you get that one? Okay. Deep cut. Keep going.
I know you just said something, Cody, but I can't remember what it was.
You son of a bitch. Maybe you shouldn't crash so many weddings. I got nothing. Keep going.
It's about time we get back on track here.
Oh.
Deeper cut for you.
Yeah, that's good.
You guys. No, she spent a lot of time with Strange when she had the time stone. And even though she never really became the time traveler's wife, it was pretty close. All right, it's midnight in Paris. We got to keep going here.
Listen, you don't have to be a Sherlock Holmes to put all this together.
Oh gosh. You're getting your money's worth today, dear listener. I'll tell you that.
And if you don't like it, you're just one of the mean girls. That one was a real stretch. I apologize. All right.
It was very fetched, though. Keep going.
Stop trying to.
You go, Glen Coco.
Oh, Lord.
He takes the dark spirits. He fashions them into a shadow cloak of badassery. Flies. Once again, transports himself a good distance away from Mount.
Yeah.
What's it called? So
Wandagore.
that he can.
It's got like the dumbest name. What is it?
Wandagore. Which that has a comic origin, right, Cody?
It is from the comics. I can't say I'm overly familiar with it, but I do know the name.
Okay. Flies over there. Is saved by Wong at the last second, or does he save Wong?
He saves Wong.
Wong is inexplicably alive after getting thrown off a cliff.
Yeah, Wong had previously been flung off the cliff, and he like tries to throw a magic spear to catch himself, but it fails. But they don't actually show him dying, so he's not actually dead.
Right.
And then like in this scene, he's climbing back up the cliff, and I think he like manages to like pull one of those creatures off or something, but then there's a couple more of them, and they're like throwing shit down at him, and then Dracula zombie Strange flies over and saves Wong.
And I can perfectly accept him not being dead. I had no expectations that he was dead, but for him to be unharmed completely,
listen,
not
Dave,
a scratch
you just
on
need to
him,
learn to bow to the Sorcerer Supreme.
Stands up, tosses up his grappling hook, and immediately starts climbing this mountain. That was a little much for me.
He's a magic man.
I guess so. Anyway, big old face off. No, literally, Dr. Strange is missing half his face.
It's true.
And there comes a moment in the battle, essentially, where Strange has the choice. Again, a disappointing character move from Wong, where he's like, we got to sacrifice a girl. Go ahead, go do it. That didn't really seem in line with his character. But Strange, who has learned and is different from the other Doctor Stranges, chooses not to sacrifice the girl. And this is a part that I didn't really catch at first, but my wife Emily was like, that's such bullshit that all all America Chavez needed to get a hold of her powers was a man saying, no, really, you can just control your powers. Go ahead. Just like mansplaining her powers to her. And then sure enough, boom, she can now perfectly control all of her powers. That was a bit convenient and tropey, in my opinion. And my wife's opinion, which
I was
I
going to
agree
say,
with.
was that your opinion or is that your wife's?
It was not initially my opinion, but then she talked me into it, as she's known to do.
I mean, it is true. I hadn't thought about that, but it is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty cliche that like
all you need to do is try, because you definitely haven't done that before.
Exactly.
I thought you were going to say that this Doctor Strange bucked the trend of the other Doctor Stranges and chose a different path, therefore proving that he was Team Khonshu, not Team Ammit. But
Don't get me started. So now she has control of her powers. She goes and fights Wanda. They go toe to toe for a little bit, and it seems like maybe she can hold her ground, but not quite enough. And so she finally just gives Wanda what she wants, which
Emotional damage.
I really liked this part. I thought that was a clever final move from Team Strange to like just go ahead and give her what she wants and let her find out that that's not actually what she wants.
Boy, they could have did that about an hour and a half ago, though, huh?
Also true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. The part where Wong earlier from this was saying, like, isn't it enough to know that somewhere your kids are living and they're happy and they have their mom? Like, isn't that enough? And she's like, no. I get that they need her to have that approach for the movie to happen, but it was disappointing and out of character.
That's a good Wong line, though. Like, that's what
Yeah.
Wong should be saying, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That kind of gets, I don't know. I had issues with this movie. That was one of the biggest issues. Is that
You did? I'm not picking up on that.
there's like no rationale. Like I understand that the point is that she's maybe like gotten a little unhinged, but like if you think about it for 2 seconds, like her whole plan / desire does not make any sense, as evidenced by this ending when it all just falls apart.
I think she thought it made sense, though.
Yeah, I agree with Cody.
Haven't you ever wanted something, Joe, and then you get it and you're like, this was wrong?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. What? That's crazy talk.
You gotta love a visual joke on an audio medium. Good job, Joe.
No, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but it just felt a little like too extreme to me.
That's
fair.
So Wanda sees her kids recoil in horror and knows that she can't take out the other Wanda and take her place, and so kind of comes back to the side of sanity. Which, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I
kind of wanted her to go for it. Like, if you're gonna have her be acting irrationally anyway, like just have her kill other Wanda and make it really like traumatic and horrific for everyone. Just go super dark.
I think the movie is dark enough, don't you?
No.
Well, in any case, they decide not to do that. And she gives up on her quest that she's been fighting intensely for the whole movie, and kind of lets Wanda Gore collapse all around her. America and Wong get the fuck out of there. Zombie Strange sticks around since it's not really going to hurt him anyway. And the temple collapses on her. I did at first. I was pretty convinced that that was the end of her, but thinking about it afterwards, I suppose that's not necessarily the case at all. We might see her again. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll see her again? And do you think she'll be good or evil or what?
I go back and forth on this one, but I'm going to lean towards that's the end of her.
I think that is the end of her. I kind of wish it wasn't, because I honestly kind of feel like they did her dirty a little bit. I would like to see like more of a redemption arc for her, and like, finally, now that they made us care about this character through WandaVision, like finally see a version of this character that is on the right side that we actually care about. But
Yeah.
I do kind of think that this is probably the end.
I just don't know if she has a lot of story left to tell at this point. Like, she's been the hero, she's been the villain, she's had the tragic loss of her brother, she lost her husband, except for the new white zombie version of her husband who's out there somewhere that's not addressed either in this movie. But
That's fair. Well, it's also, I didn't think about this till just now, but it also kind of presents the Superman problem, where if she is like the most powerful being in the universe, then like what do you do with her to make her compelling?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
in this, ultimately, like she basically destroys herself, which is kind of the only way out of it.
yeah, and I mean, they kind of already had that problem with Captain Marvel, right? Like, she had to be knocked
Yeah.
out in Endgame for Endgame to work.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, I guess I don't really know realistically what they could do with her to like, what sort of, if she was a hero, what sort of villain could you put her up against that could actually like stand toe to toe with her besides Thanos, which we've already seen?
Does make sense.
I mean, she was about to take Thanos out, and then he told his ships to rain fire on the
Yeah, that's
battlefield.
true.
That was like that
That's
was his
fair.
last desperate act to stop her from just fucking killing him.
To
I
say
just,
kind of
I,
makes sense how they can do the Agatha Harkness TV show they talked about. Now with her gone, maybe the spell's broken or something. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
that's a good
Side
point.
note, but
Yeah.
anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen more of her, but I feel like it makes sense for this to kind of be the end.
It's hard to tell. There was just what, like that. She lifted it up, and then there was like the little flash.
Yeah, and then it like fell on her.
And I
And
don't
that's the
know how
last
to
we
take that, I
saw.
guess.
I could see them retconning it in some way that she like transported out of there at the last second, or was teleported out of there, or any number of things. I mean, now that they have a whole multiverse going, they can go get another Wanda. Like,
could happen.
Every time it does, and you can get another Wanda anywhere.
I mean, it's kind of a problem with the whole multiverse thing.
But
that,
it
like,
creates the incursion. Then we can't do that.
I guess you're right, and I think we're gonna be hearing more about these incursions going forward.
Oh, we certainly are. Wink.
Well, I guess let's get to the mid-credit scene, shall we? So they find out that doing that by destroying Mount Wundagore, she has destroyed all copies of the Darkhold across all universes, which is an interesting little loophole built into
Yeah, what?
the Darkhold magic system. That was surprising.
That person wasn't thinking when they made that.
He and Christine have 838 Christine, that is, have one little last moment in which he tells her that he loves her in every universe, which I thought was a great evolution of I Love You 3000. But I like that those two are like doomed to not be together. I don't know. In general, I liked that
there are two ships passing in the night.
I thought that her character was really underutilized in the first movie, or it seemed like we might never see her again, and that really wouldn't have much impact on the story.
Yeah.
But between this and the What If episode that Doctor Strange features prominently in, I feel like they've not given up on that dynamic, and I was glad to see her back, and I was glad that it was like an alternate her and not the main her. That
worked well.
So I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Rachel McAdams fan in general, but I did like her here, and I liked what they did with her character here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see that one again. I don't know. It's hard to say. All right, so then they show Camartage being repaired. The surviving sorcerers are back in training, including America Chavez, who is now training with them.
Which I kind of wondered, like, that's an awful lot of sorcerers that we see at the end. Like, are those all sorcerers who survived the battle earlier, or
That's
did
good
they all
point.
like come back somehow, or
Hmm.
because like when Scarlet Witch attacked in the beginning, it seemed like she wiped like a huge portion of the
Almost all of
sorcerers
them.
out, like almost all of them. And all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of them there at the end.
She died,
It's
and then they found
interesting.
out that it was just a spell that made them disappear for a while.
No.
They were like, I guess she wasn't so bad.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't really. I'll have to watch for that next time because I feel like you're right that was maybe a disproportionate number of them
Yeah, it
shown
just
at the end
seemed kinda
there.
odd to
I
me.
mean, the Minotaur made it. That's all we care about.
That's true. When's he gonna get a Disney Plus series?
If not tomorrow, I'm disappointed.
So then Strange decides to go for a walk down the street, and in the last 2 seconds before the credits,
What the fuck?
he doubles over because now he has a third eye. Credits.
What the fuck?
That
Forgive my language, but what the fuck?
that was
It's the one off that creature they killed at the beginning.
Well, I mean, it's Evil Strange's third eye.
Dun dun dun.
I mean, so I guess the idea is that he used the Darkhold and it had an influence on him, and now maybe like lives with. They've said before that he has a photographic memory, so like it's all still in there.
You know,
I
I
know
feel
how I
like
feel
maybe
about that.
maybe he didn't see the big picture before he used the Darkhold. I feel like he might have been a little bit third eye blind.
Do 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 do.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Joe, I wish
I
you
went
would
right to
not,
jumper. I guess that tells
I
me
wish
who
you
I
would
am, huh?
not step back from that ledge, my friend. Go ahead and
And
kill yourself for that joke.
I mean, what did you guys think about that? The whole third eye thing at the end.
I hated it.
I hated it too.
I hated it.
Really weird.
That to me, that felt like a very Sam Raimi thing.
Yes, I
that's,
agree.
Like not in a good way. Like, I mean, it's kind of a stereotypical horror thing. You know, it's like you think the creature's dead at the end, but then it comes back and then it cuts to credits. Like,
Yeah, or you find
felt
out
like that
Tobey
to me.
Maguire had been Spider-Man the whole time or something.
I mean, that was bad enough, but then we get to the mid-credit sequence,
Mhm.
and do you want to talk about that?
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
I mean, it's the mid-credit where Charlize Theron shows up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we get this mid-credit sequence where Strange is walking down the street, I believe, again.
Two eyes.
Two eyes, wearing a scarf. And all of a
Debonair.
sudden, Charlize Theron appears out of nowhere, which, I mean, I've had a lot of dreams like that, but
Joe, that was actually different versions of you in other universes hooking up with Charlize Theron. Congratulations.
man,
All those other Joes out
I need
there.
to find a Darkhold. Anyway, I forget exactly what she says, but
Embrace your third eye, Joe.
Basically she shows up and she's like, hey, you fucked up the multiverse, let's go fix shit.
And opens up a portal
And she
to
opens up a portal.
the dark dimension.
The dark
Yeah,
dimension.
what? I should mention she looks like very like 80s chic. She's got this like bright pink like eye
She
shadow
looks
and
awesome. She looks
yeah,
incredible.
pretty full
Does she
character design.
age? I'm so confused.
No, she's
with
one
her.
of those people. It's like
She is one of those people.
her and Paul Rudd are immortal.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Anyway,
At least the
but
616
then,
version.
so the reason I say that like the third eye pissed me off enough, like at the initial end of the movie, she's like, we gotta go fix shit. Are you ready? And then they cut to Strange and the fucking third eye pops up again on his forehead. And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. Like
That eye might as well have winked. It was.
I don't want that to be a thing. Also,
I
it looks
agree.
terrible. Like the CGI for that looked really bad.
Did not look good. It was disturbing. It was not fun.
No, like it makes no sense. Like I don't know what the whole deal with that is. I hope that that's just something that Sam Raimi put in and that whoever directs the next one is just going to ignore.
Well,
That's probably not going to happen, but
Well, I mean, okay, so taking a step back, I don't know anything about the comics. Are you guys familiar with Doctor Strange in the comics? Is the
No.
third eye a thing? Like, do you know?
I don't know. to be honest.
I don't know either. I do know that was the Charlize Theron was playing Clea, who apparently
Yeah.
is the Sorcerer Supreme in the Dark Dimension.
Ooh, which
So-
honestly, I am mad because she spoiled that. Like right after the movie came out, she tweeted a picture of her character and was like, "Meet Clea,"
Oh, really?
which that's shitty Charlize.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
like it wasn't
agree.
known? Like it's not in the credits, or what do you mean?
Well, no, it is in the credits, but I'm saying like it was like right after the movie came out, like before a lot of people had a chance to even see the movie. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
I
Okay.
feel like something spoilery like that, you usually give it at least a couple weeks, at least 1 week. Like it just seems.
I don't know that character, but I had done a little checking up here, and I thought I'd read somewhere that apparently in some runs of the comic, she's like his wife.
Oh, I did
Okay,
hear that. Yeah, she's a love
So
interest.
apparently that heartbreak over Christine didn't last.
Yeah, man. Gonna get some damn it, I
Although-
forgot what I was gonna call him next time.
Love that.
Oh, it was Bangladesh crumpet snort.
Oh my god.
Get some Charlize Theron Bangladesh crumpet snort action.
All right. Well, and we got to talk about the last scene.
And then the very final scene, we cut
Pizza
back to Bruce
Papa!
Campbell, to Pizza Papa, who is freed of the spell and turns to the camera and says, "It's over,"
It's over.
like a giant
Pizza
doof.
Papa says it's over. Man, Bruce Campbell looks old, I just have to say.
I didn't need him in this movie. I'll tell you right
Campbell
now.
is old.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know he's like contractually required to be in every Sam Raimi movie, but
It was silly, but I loved it because it's a Sam Raimi movie. Like it
That's
was
fair.
it was completely silly. Like it
It was
totally just like killed the momentum of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he literally like he was just short of literally winking at the camera.
yeah.
But I still loved it.
I agree that it totally took me out of the movie in a way that the Stan Lee cameos used to, and I'm sorry to say, thankfully don't anymore.
Are you saying you're glad Stan Lee is dead?
I am an MCU and
You
huge
monster.
Marvel fan who is glad that Stan Lee is dead. Yes,
Oh!
that's exactly
You
right.
Son of a
I
bitch.
don't think he did nearly as much as he is credited for, and his cameos
Don't be your third eye, Evil Dave.
brought me out of it every single time he's in.
Show
Every
us your
single
third
time he
eye.
pops
Show
up
it to us right now.
If you guys want me
I
to whip
do-
it out?
I-
I will.
listen,
I
I
mean,
will-
I think that's what you.
Perhaps
want.
controversially, I will agree with Dave. Not on the cameos thing. I always like the Stan Lee cameos, but I do think that he's given more credit than he maybe deserves. I think he was great at being a personality and like being an ambassador for Marvel Comics,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
but I don't think he really, created as many things as he is perhaps given credit for.
That's my
That's fair.
sense as well. On very little research.
I am not
I will
glad he's
admit.
dead though, because I'm not a monster.
Agreed. What?
Sorry, guys. I'm a selfish person. I'm glad he's dead.
All right, let's talk about some side stuff. We got that all out of the way now.
some what stuff?
Some side stuff.
Side
Oh,
stuff.
What do you
Not,
got?
not.
Perhaps you mean
This-
side stuff like Doctor Strange in his own movie?
No, disagree. What are you talking about, Cody?
I mean, just other topics I had here is just to kind of look over
Okay.
this
Yeah, what do
movie
you
as
got?
a whole here. So, one thing I mentioned earlier when we were chatting is Wanda's storyline. I wasn't so sure, whatever, if that worked or not, but I wanted to hear what you guys thought about Doctor Strange. So it sounded like at least one of you said at the beginning you didn't think he had like a character evolution at all here, like he was still a dick. Thought I heard someone say something like that.
No, I said I don't think there's any real character development in this movie. I don't think
Oh
he's-
yes, that's what you said.
I mean, I don't think he's like still as much of a dick at the end of it, but I just don't. For a movie called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it really felt to me like he was almost a side character or secondary character. Like I didn't.
I disagree. Felt like the main character to me.
I did not.
Are you saying it was Wanda or what?
I'm saying it almost felt like an ensemble piece. Like I feel like America and Wanda, like I feel like they got as much screen time as he did. And like I didn't feel like any of the characters, including Strange, were really developed at all. Like, I mean,
Well, I feel like America gained how to use her powers, which way that's done, not so great. But she also gains hope that maybe her moms are out there somewhere. And she also gains like a father figure slash mentor in the movie and a home to go to now, a Camartage. I thought, really went through one because he came to grips with the loss of Christine and he knows that that's not going to happen anymore. And he respects that she's like married off to somebody else and he lost his chance. We didn't mention when we went through, but there's a semi-important scene where he does bow to Wong when they're at Camartage and recognizes
the most important
him
scene
as this Sorcerer Supreme. And then I thought he kind of had started with like being a bit of a Iron Man replacement mentor to Peter Parker, and now I think he went to like the next step here with America.
Yeah,
Chavez.
they're definitely setting that up. I mean, I'm not saying that there are not like plot points in the movie that are like meant to give us like character progress and development. I just feel like everything in this movie is so rushed, like from one action beat or scene to the next, that none of it really matters. Like, I didn't care about anyone in this movie. Like, I did not give a single shit about America Chavez because, okay, she had two moms who she thinks she accidentally killed, but like, we don't really spend any time with them or with her, like, to develop any sort of relationship with that character. Like, Doctor Strange, again, like, we don't, like, it never slows down to really give us any like serious, meaningful character moments with him. And I mean, again, with Wanda, like, I feel like I needed to sympathize with her, and it just doesn't happen in this movie because she's just portrayed as this like kind of irrational villain for the entire movie. Like, I did not really connect with any of the characters at all, which honestly sucks. I was, like I said at the beginning, I love the first Doctor Strange. I was really looking forward to this one, but honestly, about halfway through this movie, I was just like waiting for it to end.
Ouch. Jesus Christ. I'm somewhere in between you guys, much closer to Cody. I think that you're right about America not having a great arc. I think that Strange had more of an arc than you think, and I think it is largely summed up by Christine's line about how he needed to be the one to hold the knife.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very true of his character in his first movie and in a lot of Infinity War. And in this one, we really, and in Spider-Man, and in this one, we really see him at the end, like he's not the one who ultimately defeats Wanda. America is. He passes it on to her. Instead of taking her power, he enables her, even though I think that part is stupid, to be the hero who saves the day ultimately. And so I think that is an arc for him. And I think he's a changed character because of it.
I think so. Even just the speech he has with A3 Christine, like, of, you know, could have worked out somehow a different way.
That's fair. I mean, I think it would have worked for me more if he had any, like, if they showed him and America establishing a relationship with each other. I mean, like Cody, you said that it seems like they are kind of trying to set him up as the Tony Stark character going forward and like kind of a mentor relationship, but those two characters don't really spend any time getting to know each other in this movie. Like, I don't feel like they have any sort of connection or relationship.
They had pizza balls together, Joe.
Pizza balls, Joe, I mean, from Pizza fair. Papa.
I mean, there was that moment we talked about with the like memory bank thing, which was obviously just like, here's exposition. But I mean, I feel like if we had seen them, you know, bonding, and if it felt like he did care about America and like trusted her by the end, and like this is him you know, learning to trust other people to do like what's best and right, that would have worked for me. But I don't feel like that was actually there in the movie.
I disagree.
I probably mostly disagree. I think he sets her up with a good safe home and a stable life at this point. And clearly he gave her all the words of encouragement she needed to learn how to use her powers. So what more can you ask from the guy? I mean,
well, I guess we are friends disagreeing.
A couple more questions I had here for everyone. I'm going to start with a couple of these tiny ones first. So this was advertised as kind of like for a year now, I feel, as the horror movie of the MCU. Did that work for you? Was it the horror movie? Did it come off successfully as the horror movie?
Ish.
I say definitely. I think they had lots of great horror elements, not just the Sam Raimi style, like demons flying around and shadow cloak and stuff, but even when dreamwalking Wanda was coming after them, she had kind of like a zombie walk to her, and like there were some jump scares there.
Yeah.
Including one I want to talk about in a sec is really terrible. But I feel like I don't want to get off track here because I feel like, you know how Thor for the first two movies kind of plodded along, and then like Taika Waititi came along and unlocked the potential of Thor. I feel like that's what happened. I feel like that's what Sam Raimi did to Strange in this movie. Like the first Strange, I like a lot of things about it. I like the fractal geometry architecture of it was incredible, and this movie didn't have nearly enough of that.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
But I feel like Raimi has figured out where the Strange movies are within the genre, like what kind of subset they're going to be, and I think it's horror, and I think it's a fantastic. I'm someone who's not a big horror fan. I'm not a Sam Raimi fan, but I love that they took it in this direction, and I really feel like it's very befitting the character and a really good way to treat his movies going forward, to have them kind of have this same tone.
Be the spooky ones. What were you gonna say, Joe?
I partly agree with Dave. I think that, there's definitely a decent amount of horror in here. There's a decent amount of Raimi in here. One of the moments that kind of stood out to me was when Wanda is like first kind of crossing over to try to take over the other Wanda's body with her dream walking. There's the like POV camera, like kind of hiding behind the staircase or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Just like that felt very Sam Raimi, the like POV shot. I wish it had leaned into the horror a little more though. I think there are a lot of moments here, but I also think that it could have gone. Obviously we're not going to get like an R-rated horror movie in the MCU, but I think they could have gone just like leaned a little bit harder into it. To me, it almost kind of felt like, not to the extent of like Spider-Man 3, but it kind of felt like there was like a Sam Raimi movie and an MCU movie, like trying to be grafted together. And I wish it had been allowed to be like a little bit more Sam Raimi.
How about Wanda climbing out of the gong?
That was awesome.
That was horror movie. That was intense.
Yeah,
that was
no,
cool.
there are a lot of moments like that. I just wish there was. I feel like it was almost like 50-50, or maybe even like 60-40, like Marvel 60, Sam Raimi 40. And I wish it was maybe just like 60-40 the other way. Just like a little bit more of that like Sam Raimi horror stuff.
Because I thought of it a second ago, I want to talk real quickly about what for me was the worst scene in the movie, where they are going through a tunnel in the Illuminati headquarters to the back door. They go, so blast door 1, boom, she busts through it. Blast door 2, boom, she busts through it. Blast door 3 goes down. All of our characters stand there watching the door.
That was a
waiting.
thick door.
So
time slows down as the water drips. Slow motion reaction on all 3
like what the
characters.
fuck?
I was like, what is happening? I don't understand. And then she just comes in from the side of the tunnel.
Yeah, what?
Boom. Like,
yeah, I'm like waiting for the door to blast open or like. So that actually brings up something else I was thinking about earlier.
That door had an enchantment.
That sucked. That scene sucked.
Yeah, you're
Here's
right.
The thing. Okay, so we talked about the scene earlier where she kills all the Illuminati in creative ways.
Yes.
She makes what's his fuck's mouth disappear.
That'd be Blackagar Boltagon.
Whoa, Black Betty, Bam. She turns Reed Richards into spaghetti, but like, so she like that scene establishes that she's this like all-powerful being who can like transform matter. Why does she not do that for the entire rest of the movie? Like, she's, instead of chasing after these characters, why is she not just like using her, reality warping skills to just annihilate them immediately? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, like Black Bolt no longer has a mouth. Well, you no longer have a heart.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, given the power that she displays here, the fact that, I mean, they even describe her as being like the most powerful, magic user or being in the universe. Like, nobody should be able to stop her or even really slow her down. Like, it's just silly.
So you definitely think she's dead then, right?
Totally. Well, I mean, like I said, that goes back to what I was saying about the Superman problem is like nobody.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they can't bring her back now.
Well, I mean, ultimately nobody can stand up to that. So the only way to kind of get rid of her is to have her like kill herself, which that's why I do think that she's not coming back.
That's fair. A couple of other quick ones I had here. I saw in some reviews, people complained that we didn't see enough of the multiverse itself.
Ooh,
like, basically, we went to like 2 and maybe had a glimpse at 1 or 2 other ones.
So that's another thing I was going to mention. So there's a little movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once, which also involves multiverse hopping.
I'm almost glad that you guys can't really talk about this because the viewer maybe doesn't want to be spoiled on it.
Don't
talk about it. I don't want to.
I'm not going to give any specific spoilers.
All right.
I'm just going to say that movie cost $25 million. This movie, Doctor Strange, cost $200 million. I'm not good at math, but that's 8 times as much.
Checks out.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, to me, does a much better job of conveying the idea of a multiverse and showing the different possibilities that come with the idea of multiverse, jumping between these different universes. Like, I feel like it just conveys the idea so much better than this movie does.
But is there one where they're paint? Come on.
There are better ones, which I will not spoil. There are some more unique ones.
That's my way of agreeing with you.
And they're not all good, to be clear.
Cody's wrong. Anyway, but no, that was one of my biggest disappointments with this movie is like, especially given the budget and like the title, The Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I did really expect there to be a lot more just like crazy universe hopping, and really like what we get feels like the first other universe they go to. Oh my God, red means go, green means stop. How wacky. Like, you can't be more fucking creative than that.
That turned out to be very different though. I mean we saw some serious shit go down. Like there's stuff that's different, but
you need to see the other movie, Dave.
I do need to see the other movie. I completely agree with that.
I just feel like there is kind of a lack of creativity in like
there could have been more
like
universes shown.
So much more.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And it's kind of like how Age of Ultron was like 3 to 4 days of Ultron. Like
yeah.
They set something up and then only have a 2-hour runtime that they have to pack it all into.
Yeah. So. The Age of Ultron, and his age is 3 months old. Okay. I want to go back to the Illuminati scene.
Okay.
So it sounds like for the most part, we enjoyed the cameos. We enjoyed the deaths. It seems like for the most part. Here's my prediction with this. I think the MCU set themselves up for a lot of trouble with this scene. I really liked it while I watched it, and the more I thought about it, was like nothing good is going to come from anything they've just done. And here's why I say that, because you have Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. So now I feel like they're stuck in a damned if they do, damned if they don't situation. If they bring somebody else in, the audience is going to be like, oh, but he was so good at that. Like, why didn't you just bring him back in? If they bring him back in. They've already killed him. I know it's a different version of him, but it's like, is it that exciting to now see him show up in a new movie when we've already seen him as that character die as that character? Professor X, whoever they bring in as Professor X now is Patrick Stewart. Again, they've already killed, or they bring somebody else in. And I think anybody they bring in, probably fans are going to be like, he's not as good as Patrick Stewart.
I mean, they already did it with Fassbender, and people like Fassbender. So,
well, they did, I guess. So
James McAvoy, who played Professor
or
X.
McAvoy.
Oh, that's
sorry,
true. Yes, that's true.
I mixed it up. Sorry, my bad.
Who is also great. I mean, I'd be fine with them bringing him back.
So I'm just, and Black Bolt. I mean, I don't know. Are they going to say that was the version that we saw on the TV show? Was like, I didn't see a TV show. Was that connected to like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything?
No, it was not.
So we could just assume that was the 838 Black Bolt.
I'm sure we can probably agree that there's not a huge risk of Black Bolt coming back anytime soon.
I mean, the Inhumans are a not top tier team, but they're
the Inhumans literally exist because Marvel lost the rights to the word mutant for a while. Like that's literally why that.
Are you talking about in the movie TV shows?
Yeah.
The Fox? Yes, but I'm talking about the comics. And the comics, they were around much longer. The people of the moon, basically. So I don't know. And then the other ones, Marvel, Captain Carter, whatever. But
I'd love to see Captain Carter.
I just feel like they are in trouble now because they can't bring these characters in and have people be as excited for them when they finally bring them into the proper MCU universe 616.
I don't know. I mean, I think this scene exists, like this whole thing exists to allow them to bring these characters into the MCU proper.
I agree. That's what they thought.
But
I agree that's what they thought. And I'm telling you, watch, it's going to backfire on them now.
I don't know if it's as big of a deal as you think, especially since they're really in this movie for a very short period of time.
I'm just saying, there's going to be a movie at some point in the next year and a half, 2 years. They're going to bring in the Fantastic Four. John Krasinski's walking screen. You'll be like, oh, we've already.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, so what I've heard about Krasinski is that like the rumor is that he's kind of more interested in directing than he is acting these days.
Mm-hmm.
So he might direct the next Fantastic Four, like whether or not he actually stars as Reed Richards in it.
You know what they should do, which would be kind of cool, but I don't know if they would do this so much, but they should actually have, because for how long as he was rumored, they had Emily Blunt rumored as Invisible Woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They should have her be the 616 Mrs. Fantastic and then bring in a dude to be like Invisible Man and like flip the roles, the genders. That'd be kind of cool to see.
That would be cool. You know what they should really do is bring in Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
I agree. I completely agree.
I mean, she played the 838 Sue Storm as well. Didn't you see her?
Yeah, I did. She was
boo.
Not there. That's not good. Then for The Thing, they could bring in one of my least favorite characters from Everything Everywhere All at Once. We won't go into that, but anyway. Yeah, you got that joke. All right. Anyway, death roll on this movie. Doctor Strange twice. All the people at Comertage, Black Bolt, Fantastic, Carter Marvel, Professor X, and Scarlet Witch potentially. That's a huge body count.
It is a huge body count. And a lot of those were, the 838 characters who, it was fun to watch them die, but you didn't really care about them. Like, you don't have a lasting connection to them.
That's true. And the preview.
So really, I mean, with Scarlet Witch maybe not dying, then the body count is really like zero.
Especially
in terms of characters you
with all the wizards
knew
coming
about
back.
cared about. Yeah, Minotaur guy didn't even die. I mean, come on. Like,
I mean,
Sarah died.
I still want to know how many people
Sarah.
died at Comertage, like if any. Like it's so weird.
Well, we know Sarah died, and we know that one guy that she fucking burned died.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold out for a Korg Minotaur miniseries. Okay, last thing I had on my list, I swear, and then I'll shut up here. Reading about some of the stuff here, including this movie, I'm seeing a lot of reviewers on different websites that are really worried about where the MCU is at here in phase 4. And Joe, I think you said you have a little Marvel fatigue at this point. Dave, you sound like you're still running pretty strong on this, but
never gonna happen. Yeah,
kind of complaining that like we had the Thanos Infinity Saga for 3 phases before. seemed like they were doing something with Kang maybe as the big bad guy. And
Kang is coming.
I
Yeah.
know he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 movies down the road here yet, but
Yeah, how far out is Ant-Man?
I think it's at least 4
Jesus.
because it's Marvels and Thor and Black Panther, and I don't know if there's one before it yet after that or not. I feel like there's another one in there somewhere, but so I don't know. Like, do you feel like this is just spinning out of control? Are we still
Yes.
doing okay? This, I always said the sad day is going to be when the MCU kind of falls off the tracks here. I don't think
Yeah, I
we're
agree
there.
with that.
I don't think we're there yet, but
Oh, not even. I don't think we're even close to that, but I do think it'll happen eventually. But
I feel like for me personally, like what I care about most in Marvel properties at this point is like character. That's why I've enjoyed, a lot of the Disney Plus shows is because for the most part, they're focused on like 1 or 2 characters and like spending time with them. And, that's why I loved Loki. I was surprised that I enjoyed Hawkeye as much as I did because it really made me care about those characters. And I feel like my problem with this movie is that it feels like it just puts spectacle over character. Like the character stuff here, like I said, I felt like it was almost non-existent. And I feel like for me, what the MCU needs to do going forward is, and I mean, they are kind of a weird place right now where, except for Thor, like all of the original Avengers are gone now. And I think they really need to try to make us care about these new characters some more. Like, if they want to keep this going, they need to, kind of reestablish that connection. I don't know.
I think that'll happen. I think there's a team up movie down the line. I do wish it was like already announced so that we knew it was coming, but I feel like
that's part of the
like
fatigue
it's
for
coming.
me too, is that there are so many things that are announced right now, like both series and movies. And I mean, obviously it's never going to end, but it feels kind of overwhelming. And it's like, I don't know, how much of my life am I going to continue committing to this?
See, I like it when I like that they have so many characters spread across so many things because I feel like when one shows up, I go, "Oh yeah, let's find out what's been going on with this person." Like I'm just
I don't know. My thing, especially with the TV series now, is that, and it's the same thing with Star Wars actually. I mean, it was a bigger thing with Star Wars because we didn't have any Star Wars for a very long time, but it doesn't feel as special as it used to.
That's because The Last Jedi ruined everything, Joe.
That's not true. I'm just saying, as far as like, time between like releases. And I mean, they used to be with the MCU too. We used to get like 1 or 2 movies a year. And now we're getting like 3 or 4 movies a year and these series. So there's like literally never any downtime between MCU things.
I do worry that the TV shows could start to cause more people to flip to where you're at, Joe, with the burnout.
I feel like it doesn't feel like as big of an event as it used to. Like to me now, it's just like, okay, now this is the Marvel thing. Okay, now like it's just one after another. Like there's just no time to kind of catch your breath in between them. Which I mean, for someone like Dave, maybe that's not a bad thing, but for me, it is kind of just overwhelming.
I like the dichotomy personally. I feel like the movies are places where like the big things happen. I do wish that the movies had more time for character development, like you're saying, but I feel like that's where the shows excel in character development. And I wish that the shows were allowed to kind of do bigger things and have more like headline characters and have big impacts on the universe. So I kind of wish that those two could kind of meet in the middle, but I think I have an understanding of that's what they're doing with each of them. And I like them both. I'm here for it all, basically.
Be curious to see if we could find the numbers of like estimated audience for the movies versus the TV shows to know how much overlap there is actually between the two. I have no idea if the same people are watching both, or I'd have to assume less people are watching the TV shows, but
I would think so too.
Yeah, I don't know.
but that's where it's tricky with like, you know.
I did just see, I forget what the number is, but like as Netflix is losing subscribers, Disney Plus just got like 1 million new subscribers or some ridiculous number like that, or like hundreds and hundreds of thousands at least. So, I mean, I feel like their audience is going to just keep growing.
That's probably just the Iron Fist audience coming over, though.
Gross. Listen, I'm a person who's usually a completionist, and like once I start watching a thing, I will have to continue and see it through. Iron Fist, I literally shut off after like 10 minutes. I just could not do it.
I made it through the
was
first
that
season,
bad.
and even I did not watch the second one. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a second season.
After the Defenders, I was pretty much done with the Netflix shows. I think
That's
I watched
fair.
1 or 2 seasons more past that, but yeah, I did not see to the end of all those shows because I just couldn't take it.
The only one I didn't finish was the last season of Jessica Jones. That's the last one I haven't seen.
Were there 3 seasons?
There were.
3
Yeah.
Jessica Jones. I've
I didn't
seen
watch
2
the
of them,
last
but
one.
not 3.
I thought season 1 of Jessica Jones was like one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's
and-
fantastic. Kilgrave is just the
Oh,
best,
like
one of the
David
best MCU
Tennant,
villains
like
of all
chilling,
time.
like absolutely chilling.
100% agree.
Anyway, but I never even watched season 2 for some reason. Anyway, are we gonna rate this, or do you have any?
Yeah,
any
we
more
got
points,
Cody. Did you have
Cody?
anything else you want to touch on?
No, that was
before
my
we-
last one here.
Let's wrap this up.
Wrap
all
it
right,
up.
let's give it a rating out of 10 and maybe a quick summary. I think the listeners pretty much have a sense of where we are, but let's go ahead and quantify this shit.
Let's do it.
Who wants to go first?
You
Ooh,
call
me.
it. Okay.
5 out of 10. I hated this fucking movie.
But it was still average, huh?
What
No,
the
I didn't. Okay,
your
I didn't-
scale is messed up, man.
Okay, I didn't hate the movie, but I am giving it a 5 out of 10. For me, it was lower tier Marvel, like maybe like upper lower tier, but I was so excited going into this movie, and I was just so disappointed walking out of it. I just, like I said, I was bored through like most of this movie, which I was kind of shocked by. I just did not care about any of the characters at all. There were some things that I liked. There were some, cool fight scenes and like some good jokes, but I was shocked at how just completely indifferent I was for most of the movie.
That's fair.
All right. Cody?
I can't in good conscience give it a really, really high score because I disagree with a lot of Joe's saying, but I can't really put into words exactly why it didn't hit the top marks here for me. I guess maybe my expectations were just too high. It could be part of it. Like, go back to the title again. I just thought anything could happen in this movie. And we did get the Illuminati scene, but beyond that, I don't know that we had anything that was truly shocking. Although I'll be honest, I didn't know Wanda was the villain, which I don't know that we straight up said either. So as much as I knew about the movie, I actually didn't know she was going to be the big bad. So, so quickly here, the horror elements I kind of thought were about as even as Moon Knight that we just reviewed, honestly, and that's going to put it in about the same score for me. So I'm going to give this about a 7.5 to 8. I'm gonna go down on this one to the 7.5. I think though. I went up for Moon Knight. I'm going to go down for this one. Keep it fair.
Wink.
I am with you on the 7.5, Cody. That's where I've landed. When I was watching it, it was like a 9 as I was watching it. But then, some in retrospect, thought of some things that, maybe didn't like so much. Basically, I love the Raimi of it. And that's, as a general non-Raimi fan, I just love the direction that he's taken the character. And I hope that they continue down that path. I gotta say again that I really missed the fractal architecture that I thought was a really big part of the first movie and his character as a whole. Like we saw it return in No Way Home.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
am sad that they seem to have, kind of abandoned.
That's another issue that I had is that like especially being that this is the Multiverse of Madness, it felt like a lot of the visuals were not nearly as weird as in the first movie. Like for all the possibilities of the multiverse, it didn't feel like it was as strange as it could have been.
Oh,
But anyway,
It would have been nice if I just thought of this. The scene where they're like just flying through all those different multiverses, it would have been great if that was like a montage. If they had like 10 seconds in each of those and like a little sense of the adventure that they had in that universe before they moved on to the next one. Even that would have kind of helped that problem a bit.
or
and been
even
a lot of
maybe like
fun.
a split second among each of countless different multiverses.
I mean, that's
that-
what they did.
That could make for a cool scene in a movie.
All right, I'll see the movie, okay? I'll see the movie. Anyway,
I don't think a split second would work for everyone, especially Captain Carter.
Oh,
all right. And with that,
The multiverse of madness.
we did
Our house in the middle. All right, moving on.
well, thank you, listener, for joining us as we occasionally didn't disagree about Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Bye, everyone.
I mean,
See you
Dave,
guys.
you have to lead us. Dave.
Oh, yeah, we gotta do the song, Dave.
Which song?
The friends occasionally not disagreeing song.
Fun. That one?
Dave.
You gotta sing the song.
Dave, come on, Dave.
Oh, this is friends.
Occasionally,
I've not been part of this.
You haven't done the song with
feature
us
yet. No.
What? We've been doing this since like episode
Okay, so
3.
we just have to sing "Friends Occasionally Not Disagree." You can
That's
do it
all.
however you want.
We'll even cut this part out.
I already sang the intro. I'm covered.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
I
bet-
really was not aware of this
I bet
feature. So we
Third
just
Eye
we
Dave
just
would know how
mumble.
it goes.
We
just
sang in different
mumble.
styles. Last time we did barbershop trio.
All right. Do it in the style of a musical battle. Ready, go.
Friends occasionally
Occasionally not
do not
disagree.
disagree.
Ow, take that.
Ow, pew, 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 pew,
Kablam! Rest in
pew,
peace,
pew.
Adam West.
We just entered the multiverse of badness.
Batness, more like. See you, everyone.
Bye.